one of the biggest lessons I've learned is being more invested in the process rather than the outcomes.
Yeah.
But I actually wasn't recruited by BYU.
Wow.
I was committed to Oregon State. My brother, he entered the transfer portal. A couple weeks after that, he's like, oh, he's going to BYU. And he says, you should think about it. You should think about going to BYU. And in my head, I'm like, what? Leave my scholarship at Oregon State.
Wow.
Finally just got on my knees and told the Lord, if you want me to be at BYU, I'll go to BYU.
Welcome to our first edition of Faith Huddle. I'm your host, Shawn Tanuvasa. The purpose and the goal of this is to build faith and to help us see how you practice your faith and live your faith on the football field, off the football field, where it originated from, and all of that stuff. Our guest today, Orion Maile-Kaufusi, which is an interesting name there. Do you want to tell us the meaning behind why it's Maile-Kaufusi?
Yeah, it's a good way to start off. So people always see the Kaufusi last name and they always ask, are you related to the Kaufusis? And yes, I am related to the Kaufusis. But my upbringing was kind of complicated.
Yeah.
Growing up, when I was about 4, my parents were divorced. And so my Maile last name actually comes from my biological father.
Okay.
But then my mother remarried to Henry Kaufusi, who was I consider my dad, who raised me. And so I have the Maile-Kaufusi. I'm actually the only one, myself and my wife.
Oh, wow.
And so I have some siblings that are of the Maile from my biological father, and then I have some siblings from Kaufusi from my dad, Henry.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Carrying all of the family legacy.
Got a lot of weight to it, but also a lot of determination, a lot of motivation comes with it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of faith-filled ancestors.
Yeah.
That you just look at them. I've been learning a lot of stories of my ancestors, both my Maile side, my Kaufusi side, and gives me a lot of motivation seeing the things that they've done. Family history, that's a little hobby I've been picking up recently.
Yeah.
Shawn.
Yeah.
And it's been good to learn about their stories, read some of their patriarchal blessings, and also just kind of understand that, they did hard things.
The
I can do hard
that
things.
You came from.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question about that in a second. So are you able to fit your whole name on your jersey?
Mine?
I
think
mean, that's
mine's
a long name, bro.
Longest one.
Huh?
I think mine is actually the longest one, but yeah, it does fit.
It does
They
fit.
just shrink the letters.
They shrink it. Okay.
So it's not as big.
Okay. So you're carrying a lot of family legacy on your back.
Right.
What number are you again? Number
10.
Number 10.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, number 10. I love that number, actually. So as we look at this journey of faith and trying to see how your faith has been, tell me, what has your journey at BYU been like? You know, what does it mean to your family, to represent your family, and especially your faith?
Well, maybe I should start here because it's a journey that started before even getting to BYU. Out of high school, I had a offer to Oregon State, and they were willing to hold that offer until after my mission to come back and still play with them. But I actually wasn't recruited by BYU.
Wow.
So it's a funny story. But up until I was committed to Oregon State, planning to go there, like in touch with the coaches and everything, until my last transfer. So a couple months left of my mission, my brother, who actually played with Keanu at Utah, he transferred. He entered the transfer portal. And so my dad calls me when he had hit the transfer portal on my P day. And he's like, yeah, your brother just hit the transfer portal. I'm like, what? How do you do that? They just won 2 Pac-12 championships. Like,
right.
What is he doing?
Right.
This is last year. Like he's gonna do great. So the next week, my dad tells me, or a couple weeks after that, he's like, oh, he's going to BYU. And he says, you should think about it. You should think about going to BYU. And in my head, I'm like, what? Like, my dad went to Utah, you know what I mean? Like, I've never heard these words.
That's a foreign thought.
Very foreign. And in my head, I'm just confused because we grew up Utah fans. Brother went to Utah. My dad went to Utah. Never even think about BYU, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that thought kind of stays with me the next couple of days, the next week. And this is the first time I'm like feeling a little bit chunky. If you don't know what chunky is, it's on a mission. It's like you're feeling a lot of thoughts about home. It's my last transfer.
For sure.
And I'm thinking about it a lot. BYU just keeps coming to my mind. And I'm like, man, like nothing's set for me at BYU. Like if I were to go to BYU, I'd have to walk on, leave my scholarship at Oregon State.
Wow.
So finally, after like fighting a lot of what the Spirit was telling me, feeding me those thoughts of BYU, finally just got on my knees and told the Lord, if you want me to be at BYU, I'll go to BYU. And immediately, just peace.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, all right, I know what I got to do. I called my dad next P day and my mom and, told them, let's do it. Like, what do we got to do? And then from there, walked on to BYU. I did the Gray Shirt program. So when I first came back, I just was working out with the team, and then hopped on the next year, which was last year, was my first year. And I'm still in like the process. I'm still in the beginning stages of, writing my story in the beginning chapters. But it's been a huge blessing. Like that, the Lord guiding me here to BYU has brought the biggest blessing into my life, which was meeting my wife here in Provo, Utah, and being able to get married to her. And also the spiritual growth that I've been able to receive while being here has been like amazing. I wouldn't have ever imagined it. I don't think I'd be on the right track if I was over in Oregon. So I'm happy that followed the impression that the Lord gave me to come here to BYU, and it's been a great time since.
That's cool. What's interesting is sometimes people are wondering, like, do I really have faith? Is my faith growing? And you just said, it was just impressed on my mind. Like I kept thinking about it again and again and again, right? That's faith. When the Lord gives light and puts it in you and you just can't let it go until you get to the point where you're on your knees saying, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And he gives you that answer. This is where you're supposed to go. Even though you had something else totally that could bless your life,
right?
You left it to trust your faith. What evidence is today is that still happening where you feel like, man, I still feel faith. My faith is growing. Because you said, I'm just kind of still in the beginning. So is that faith still there? Is it still a part of your journey right now?
Yeah, I would say for sure. One thing I think, one of the most precious habits that I've gained from childhood and a mission has been prayer. And so just recently, I've always like prayed day and night and try to just like seek the Lord's will. What do you want me to do today? Like, how can I be better today? What can I change? And counseling with him. But recently my wife actually gave me some good counsel because I just told her, I was like, I feel like I'm getting a bit habitual with my prayers, becoming a bit rote. And she just tells me that I should like start writing in my journal and kind of thinking about the day, just like praying to him about the day, nothing else. Just like going through my day and running the day with him. If I'm praying in the beginning of the day, just thinking about what I have to do that day, praying about those things, and at the end of the day, be grateful for the blessings that he's given me, the way that he's reached out.
Wow.
And that's actually been a huge faith builder.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the Lord like tell me things, whether it's, just text this person or reach out to this person, or you should change this, stop judging. Like that's been the one recently, when you look at people, like look at them in love, and like really just change those simple, those small thoughts. Don't let them creep into your mind.
Yeah.
And so I'd say prayer has been a huge way that faith has been able to continue to cultivate and grow within my personal life.
That's cool, because what you're describing is that, and a lot of people are trying, they're trying to figure out where their faith it fits into their life and how they use faith to really help them deal with situations that they're going through. What you just shared is pretty cool. It's like, just focus on the present, right? Your wife's like, tell me your wife's name?
Masina.
Masina's like, just focus on the present, honey. Like, don't start overthinking. Try to get your faith tunneled in, intentional about what's happening in that day. I know a lot of people that struggle with that. And I think faith can translate across the board, right? It fits in every situation, and they all have the same skills and efforts and techniques.
100%.
Tell me, how does faith work on the field? Where does it work on the field? Or how does it work actually in the locker room? I mean, is there a place for it or no?
Oh, this is a good one because it's one we've actually like discussed a lot. For those of you who don't know, Brother Shawn Tanuvasa is our team chaplain, and so he helps us a lot with building our faith. We do faith sessions
Yeah.
before games.
Yeah, it's really cool. I enjoy it.
And it's been a huge, I think it's been a huge part of our success this season, being able to have those times to really think about what's most important. And I think that has brought a sense of spirituality into our game, into the locker room, into the minds of the players. I know for me, especially like coming down before our pregame meal and just having that time where like, you're thinking about the game, thinking about everything that you got to do, all the tasks you got to do. And sometimes it gets overwhelming, but being able to just remember like our faith, remember God, Jesus Christ, man, those times are precious to me.
Yeah.
And I know it's been for a lot of the teammates. We've talked about like even believing in our own teammates, believing in ourselves, believing in the coaches, trusting them, and how that can play a big role. Not questioning,
Yeah.
It's easy to question. It's easy to say like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why did we kick that? Why did we run it this play when we should have thrown the ball? Those thoughts come all the time in the games, especially to teammates. You hear a lot of chatter, but our Coach Kalani, like really came down on us for that because that's doubt and that diminishes faith.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool because what you just linked was kind of your everyday life as a football player and how faith plays a role, either spiritually, like connecting to God, or having faith in the people that you work with, you play with, your coaches who lead you. Like that kind of faith is also critical to, your relationship to God. Like they all tied in together, don't you think?
100%.
But sometimes we don't see it that way. Okay, so let me ask you a tough question. All right, this is a tough one. And let's see if I want to see if you can answer it, bro, because this is not easy.
Lock in.
Because you got to be like, you got to be like right about this because you have a relationship with your room. Now, when we talk about room on a football team, what are we talking about?
Positions.
And what position do you play?
Defensive end.
Okay, so your room is the defensive end room. How many guys are in that room?
Let's see. We'll start from youngest to oldest maybe. We got Ephraim, Hunter, Tausili, Micah. Oh, Nusi's actually the youngest. And then myself and Press and Logan. 7.
7 of you.
Yeah.
And who's your coach?
Coach Pop.
Okay, Coach K-Pop is the coach over the defensive end room.
Yes.
All right, here's my question. There's a spirit of love between you, but a spirit of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to get playing time. And the very guys that you're trying to get playing time is the guys you're trying to love.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you're like, but I'm not playing. He's playing. I need to play. I want to play. There's this feeling that you have to deal with in that room. And it's a tough feeling to balance. Where does faith come in? How does faith help you in that issue of getting playing time, but still loving the very people that you're breaking bread with?
Man, that's a great question. And it's one that has definitely comes up a lot, but it's been I'd say more easy just because of the guys we have in the room are just so fun to be around, such lovable guys, and also guys that keep, we have a sense of accountability in the room as well. And it's definitely been hard, I'd say, because you do want to compete, but you also need to make sure that love is there because you never want contention in your room because that will hinder some learning, hinder the progress of one another, and especially whoever is feeling that contention or
hinder faith in each other.
Exactly.
Hinder faith in Coach Pop.
Exactly. So I feel like our room is very positive, very uplifting to one another. There's a lot of good feedback coming. Somebody comes off the field, it's like, oh, good job. You had a good spin move here. You had a good, everyone's like very observant of one another's wins. and everybody in the room, when we're watching film, like we'll watch film and someone will say, Hunter has a good spin move in the game, and everyone's kind of like hyping him up, you know what I mean? Like, and that's how you really keep that contention from growing in the room. And it's like having faith in our coach that he's putting the best guys in, and also having faith in one another that, like, whoever's in, they'll be able to get the job done.
Cool.
And
that's cool.
It's been good.
So do you still have faith in those that may be getting more playing time than you?
I'd say, yeah. I think my faith right now is like in the long run. I'm trying not to look too much, because right now I'm not getting as much playing time, and obviously you feel like you're the guy. You feel good, and you should have that confidence. I can do this, and you should have that confidence, but you should also trust in the process. I think one thing this season that I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is being more invested in the process rather than the outcomes or performance. And focusing more on who I'm becoming rather than how I'm performing, and how much playing time I'm getting. And I think that kind of faith is the kind of faith Heavenly Father wants us to have. He doesn't want us to have faith in one day, asking for a blessing, and then you don't get that blessing the next day. He wants us to, ask for that blessing and then be waiting for it, even if it's years, that long-term faith. And I think that's true confidence in the Lord.
Wow. That's sweet, bro. That's good. That's real good, because that's a grind, that's a world. There's people out there in the world that are trying to make it in their career. They're trying to make it in their schooling, right? And there's rates, and we grade people, and there's competition going on. If they can see that love, removing contention, building trust in the process, that connects to Heavenly Father, and that helps their faith, help them in life. That's really good.
Right.
Money, dude. Money. That was a lock-in answer right there. All right, let's go back to something that puts you where you're at today.
Okay.
The origination of that faith. Where did it start? I'm sure your parents had some impact on it, but there had to have come a moment where you had to decide, like, do I believe this or not? Can you think about where that happened, or maybe an example of where that strengthened and your faith got refined in God?
Yeah. Growing up, my family wasn't super active. My immediate family, my parents and my siblings. But a lot of the times, if my parents didn't go to church, then we'd go to church with my grandparents. And so I was really close with my grandparents. And if like, grandparents, they're super faithful. They have lived long lives, and my grandparents especially, on both sides, always instilled in us a sense of faith, whether it's teaching us about prayer, about scripture studies. They've always been constant in that. When my parents, struggled in the beginning stages of our faith, my grandparents were always constant in helping my parents and also us. So we'd always go to church, whether it was with my grandparents or my parents. And I remember a specific moment, actually, going to church with my grandparents, and we got to learn about eternal families in one of my primary classes. I think I was just recently baptized. So after I got baptized, and I remember learning about how families could be together forever. And in my head, I'm like thinking, like, they're teaching about getting sealed in the temple and teaching about how that's like the way you get to be with your family forever. And in my mind, I'm like, wait, we haven't done that. Like, my family hasn't done that yet. And I go and go home after church to my parents, after my grandparents dropped me off. And like, I asked my mom, I tell my mom, like, I want to get sealed to my younger siblings. I didn't know how it worked, but I was like, I want to make sure my sisters, I had 2 little sisters at the time. Like, I want to make sure that they have someone to be with in the next life.
Yeah.
And I just remember that being like a huge motivator for me as a young man, like having faith to be able to have a desire to bring others as well with me, because I knew that, they didn't have the opportunities to have that same faith. And I think it sparked something in my mom as well, and my pops.
That's so cool.
And from there, my mom started becoming more active as well. But that was definitely the changing moment. If I were to think of one moment that kind of gave me a higher sense of faith and a higher sense of, I need to get this done.
Yeah.
I need to be better for my family.
Wow. How old were you at the time?
Probably nine or 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mature age, bro. But ever since I met you, you're very mature. Very mature, man. And I just love the light that shines in your eyes, bro, because I know you believe. I know you believe deep down inside, and no matter what's going on. So really cool. Thanks for sharing that about a little bit about the family history there. Okay, I got one more question. I don't know how long we're supposed to do this.
First time.
Yeah, it is first time. So here's my last question. We talk about the idea that faith strengthens you. It helps you through everything that you're kind of going through right now. Also, I love how you tied in your wife through this process, and your room and how much it's helping you.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what does faith, like what role does faith have with BYU football?
I would honestly say that I came to BYU not to play football. Like, I came to BYU to become a better man, to grow my faith. Because obviously, if I wanted a better position or a better situation for myself in football, like full ride scholarship and anything, I would have been, at Oregon State. But like, if someone truly wants to build their faith, become a better person, a better disciple of Jesus Christ, if that's something that they want to do, and coming to BYU is the best thing. And football is just a plus to it,
Oh,
School is just a plus to those things. And I definitely think faith is like the main thing that BYU has different than so many other schools, because it prioritizes one's faith, one's character, becoming a better person,
yeah.
and uses the principles of the gospel of Jesus Christ to be able to cultivate that in another person.
Okay, so it's interesting. I asked you about BYU football, and you bring in the total package of BYU University and the impact that it has. And football is like a secondary thing, right? So that led me to another question.
Let's hear it.
All right, here it is. Like, a lot of people watch Kalani and they hear him and he says gospel things, He'll be like, yeah, it was such a great win. And it's not, it's 3:00 in the morning. I got to get ready for church tomorrow. It's 9:00. I got church in the morning. Are you guys going to church? And he talks about things that are faith promoting. Mm-hmm. Is he really legit in his faith? I mean, is that how he is behind the camera? Is he a faith guy when it comes to Kalani Sitake?
Yeah, that guy's all in. Like, more than anyone I know. He's definitely changed my view of life in general because of how he prioritizes his life. His discipleship as number one, his family. And he's such a good family man. He talks about his family a lot, like with the boys. He talks to us often, and he brings up his family. And you can just tell the way he speaks about his family that they're super important to him. And he's just a guy that when you talk to him, you can just tell, like, he loves you. And for a young football man or a young football, whether you're 18, 20, no matter how old you are, like, you definitely need love, because it's hard to feel a lot of different things when you're going through football. You're getting ripped apart during your, football practice and stuff. You're getting a lot of constructive feedback.
Yeah.
But from Kalani, you feel so much love. Even if he gives you feedback too. Like, oh, you should do this on your drop. You should jam him here. But you can just feel the love that he has. And so because that love's there, you just know that he's a disciple of Christ because of, I think it was the prophet that shared that you can tell someone's discipleship on how they treat others, on how compassionately they treat others. And he is very compassionate and charitable.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I've been around him more than ever. I knew him when I was little, but I've been around him more than ever. I only asked the question about Kalani. I know him for myself. Man, if there was a guy who can lead and transform, us as a team, as a school, as a community, man, Kalani's got it. His faith is deep. And I think the fruits of that is his love, right? His family, like, those are all things that are so important. And I know that. I wanted to ask you because I wanted everybody to know, hey, I'm not feeding him anything. I want him to know for himself. But BYU Football, Kalani Sitake, and Orion. What do they call you in the field?
Oli.
Oli. And Oli, Orion, Maile-Kaufusi, man. Talk about faith right here. You're one of them, bro. All right, Orion, man, this has been fun, bro. Here's another question for you. Okay? This one's sweet. This one is like like it came from heaven, this question. It's really cool. Here it is. If a college athlete, and I don't mind reading it, bro. I hope you're okay with that.
That's fine.
All right. If a college athlete asked you how to stay close to God when life gets loud and distracting, what would your blueprint be?
One of the apostles recently gave a talk to young single adults, and he talked about giving the Lord equal time. And I think that if there was one principle, because there's a lot of things you can do, I think the Lord has different things that he wants each person specifically to do. But I think if there's one principle that an athlete could follow, it would be to give the Lord equal time.
What do you mean by that?
I think we're very busy as student athletes.
Yeah.
You got school and you got your sport that you play. And giving the Lord equal time doesn't mean, you're kind of running out of time if you're giving him actually like 20, if you were working out probably or practicing for like 6 hours. We have school for like the other 6 hours or 3 hours in the day. But I think the principle is just to prioritize the Lord and making sure that he's not just following as the last thing in the day, or, where you give him like 5 minutes in the prayer. But giving the Lord equal time is actually giving him more of what you can give him and giving a good effort. I think another principle is seek ye first the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And I think one thing for me that's been really helpful and has been a way that I've kind of guided my day as building faith and becoming closer to God is like doing that in the morning, whether it's through prayer, and then with a scripture study, not having to be too long, but just being able to start the day in that pattern kind of just leads the rest of the day to just keep on your mind what's most important. And you can apply what you learn in your scripture study in the morning as well.
Dude, I love that. I love what I just heard, right? You're like, okay, if you're giving 6 hours to school and 6 hours to football, to training, to work, let's suppose somebody is out there working or another athlete is also training in basketball or soccer or whatever. You're not saying, oh, equal time means you got to give 6 hours to the Lord. Because you'd run out of hours in a day, pretty much, if you started to cut it up like hours, equal time in that way.
Exactly.
What you're saying is equal time is that the Lord has to be as important, or if not more important, and woven through your school hours, woven through your training hours, that he is the priority. Even if you only had 5 minutes as you were running out the door to get to a class or something like that, or get to practice. Is that what you're saying? Like, that equal time means that he's more important than anything else, or as important as what you're trying to accomplish as a football player?
Yeah, I think you got it spot on. You could have answered that question.
No. I heard you, and then I just kind of put it together, man, because I agree with that. I think it's, we got to be careful that we're not saying, wow, I gave 2 hours to working out, I got to give 2 hours to studying my Book of Mormon. Mm-hmm. It's like, that doesn't work. That's not what the Lord's looking for.
No. That's exactly what it is.
How can you tell if you're giving that equal time in the day? Because that's a great blueprint.
Yeah.
Well, how can you tell? Like, yeah, I know, man. At the end of the day, I'm like, I gave the Lord the equal time today.
I think you feel it. You feel it in your day. Whether, you just ran through your pages and just reading because it's like a repetitive thing you do, or whether you read one verse and you kind of let that verse, sink deep into your heart, and you ponder on that verse when you go to practice, or that verse comes back to you when you're eating lunch, and you feel like the presence of the Spirit reminding you of that one verse that you pondered, and one word in Tongan is whakalaulauloto, which is like you're letting it deeply into your heart, and it's not just you're reading it. And so they say that for like when you're pondering scriptures.
I love that. That's cool. Okay, bro. Here's another one that came from heaven, man. I love this. It's if someone listening right now feels alone in their faith, what would you tell them?
There's a lot of people that probably do feel alone in their faith. That's a good question.
And the thing is they would never tell you, right?
No,
They're feeling it, but they wouldn't say it. And sometimes you can notice it.
you can.
Like sometimes you can recognize, like, oh yeah, that person's really alone. But most of the time, everybody looks pretty normal. But there's probably a lot.
Yeah. I think even when you are alone, like one thing that's important is like you look throughout the scriptures, stories after stories where people, super faithful people, have been alone. You know, they have been by themselves, standing firm for what they know is right. And I don't think we always have to look to the world for validation. We don't always have to look to the world for comfort. Like we can always turn to the Lord, because a lot of times, yeah, like you're not at BYU, you're at some other place where faith isn't the priority.
Oh, that's a good point.
And it's hard. And I think for sure, depending on the Lord as your number one source of comfort, peace, and validation, and then I'd say 2 would be to always seek for like-minded people and finding those other followers of Jesus Christ along the way. And then that can build for giving you that sense of belonging.
Thanks so much for being here, Orion. We appreciate you, bro. We are appreciated for you watching us on Faith Huddle, part of Center Street Media. You can catch us on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. One of those platforms.
Cool.
We're there, and you can share it with other people to help build their faiths. That's the whole purpose of this. So we'll see you again next time on our next episode on Faith Huddle. We're coming at you with our Super Y. Let's go, Orion.
Yeah. Come on.